Hello. What is this teaching? This teaching is inspired in large part by Paul Hederman, the Big Book of AA, and A Course in Miracles. If you're identified or addicted in any way to thoughts, to the game of thoughts, there's really only one way out, and that's turning your life over to a higher power. This is in the Book of AA and also in A Course in Miracles. It's really just a version of surrender. But but it's important to, it was important here because of the addiction to self. And the strength of the beliefs in a personal me to actually give what I'm surrendering to a name, even if it's the higher power. Because surrender in a vague way, in general, didn't work here. So give your life over to higher power. Big Book of AA, Paul Hederman, The Exact Nature of the Wrong. A life run on self. Doesn't work. At some point that becomes obvious. You never get what you really want. And that's the point of selfing. Keep you on that treadmill. The treadmill of distraction, busyness. Busyness is a form of distraction, so it is distraction. The whole game of selfing is to keep you asleep, distracted from what you really are, so it gets to keep its life. This is the only life it has, by pretending that it's you and getting you to support it. That's it. As Jesus of Nazareth said, real life is in heaven. It's not here. This is something else, okay? Incarnation is not life. Having a blood and guts ride is not life. It's an experiment. It's a game. What is the experiment? Can I be an individual self? Can I be a me separate from what I am? What I truly am? Obviously, it's a compelling idea. The tiny mad idea that happened in heaven must be compelling. So here we are. So you turn your life over to higher power, and from Paul Hederman, don't get up off the operating table, don't play doctor. It's going to happen. You're going to wake up. It's just a matter of when. The most powerful tool on the journey. Again, I get this from Paul Hederman. Not me. No aspect of selfing is you. No aspect of it whatsoever. And then there's the willingness to have everything seen through, clearly seen, by the higher power. This is in A Course in Miracles, where you give it over to the Holy Spirit, and at the same time, you're willing to look at all of the gains of not you with the Holy Spirit. Being willing to see everything with forgiveness, without judgment. The personal me can't see without judgment. It's all judgment. So, forgiving is just seeing without judgment. Seeing without judgment is just seeing with the Holy Spirit, or with the higher power, which is really just seeing as or from what you really are. Yeah, it seems a bit like pulling yourself up from your own bootstraps. Something that can only be accomplished by infinite power, which is the higher power, or the Holy Spirit, or your name of choice inserted here. So hence, give your life over to a higher power. Be willing to see the insanity of the ego, of the personal self, of the selfing mechanism from that place. You'd think not me, and it is in the beginning, perhaps, a refusal to kind of take responsibility for the shenanigans of selfing. But when you really dive into it, it's so true. That you are only avoiding the responsibility, taking responsibility for the ego's mistakes, because there's identification wrapped in there, and somehow you're going to be judged and condemned by the ego's mistakes. But through not me, you can see what you actually are. You can experience what you actually are. Then that responsibility becomes unnecessary. And then you want to be accountable. You want to be accountable. For the foibles of the selfing mechanism. Because that's just what you are. It's not you. And you're going to clean up any mess that it created. You just will. You just want to. Again, counterintuitive by standard intuitive concepts, but not truly counterintuitive, real intuition. There's a great quote from Hale Dwoskin of the Sedona Method. Intuition is only right 100% of the time. Turn your life over to a higher power. Its intuitions are always right. You don't have any personal intuitions, okay? There's thoughts from the ego. There's intuitions from what you really are. You can live a life led by thoughts, or you can live a life led by intuition. So basically, you can let a false self run your life, or you can let a higher power run your life. I perhaps use the action figure from Paul Hederman a little bit differently than he does. To me, the action figure is the body-mind personality, or body-mind character, or just body-mind. To me, the action figure is impeccable. It works perfectly. It takes instructions and executes them. That's all it does. So, whatever its conditioning, it's programming. Whatever its programming is, it executes those orders according to that. So, all of its conditionings, education, experience, it's impeccable at following commands related to any of those things. But when it's run by self, it's going to have a lot of crazy input, insane input, all based in selfishness. This is what self is, 100% selfish. Even when it does the right things, it does them for the wrong reason. And so in the end, something or someone gets hurt. There's always collateral damage. So there's no purification of the of the body, or I'll say the mind at the moment. There's no purification of the body-mind as we normally think about it, so that it can fit through the eye of the needle. This doesn't go through the eye of the needle. You're already what you are is already through the eye of the needle. Dropping that this is what you are automatically gives you that. You're already that. Again, it's just waking up to what you already are. Now, once you've woken up, you do have to clean up. And you do have to grow up, or there is house cleaning that will need to be done, that gets done if you let it get done. If you've done some house cleaning before awakening, great. The more of the landscape of the ego that you know, the better. All of its forms of selfishness and pettiness and competitiveness and attention seeking, attention grabbing, all the games it plays. That's all good information. But it's not necessary to wake up. By the way, that comes from Ken Wilber. Wake up, clean up, and grow up. There's a good amount of spiritual teachers where they don't necessarily do the second two. And hence you get some strange games with sexuality or control or strange rules and practices. From their teachings, or as a sidebar of their teachings. But again, I think the cleanup's going to happen if you don't get up and you don't play doctor. What you are wants to be accountable. What you are sees through. And even though this is a dream, what you are would be impeccable in this dream. Would have this be a happy dream, as it says in A Course in Miracles, and would have it operate from the Holy Spirit, from the higher self, in a way that enlightens other people. So yeah, there's some pitfalls if you think you're done. But stay in kindergarten. What you are doesn't have that concept of being done or being somewhere. You are life itself. Be well.